What's good, guys? Travis with TCustomz Productionz, TCustomz.com. Today's video topic is based on a question that many of you have asked me, continue to ask me, and so I should have done a video on this a while ago based on the frequency that I get asked this question. But the question is, what software should I use to create my beats? What digital audio workstation or DAW should I be using as a young producer for my music production? And I've spoken to a lot of you all individually, and many of you probably know my answer to this question. But before I get into that, I'll just tell you a little history on the software that I've used and you know, where I am currently, what I'm using. So back in about 2006, I started using software called Fruity Loops at the time, now FL Studio. You guys might be familiar with it. I know a lot of you producers use FL Studio. For me starting out, FL was great because it had an easy sequencer. That was one of the big perks for me, was being able to, you know, starting out young, I didn't want to have to learn any complex software. I wanted to get in and start making some sort of music, even if it wasn't terrible music at the time. I wanted to start making something. If that was making a small drum track, the fact that I could drag in my drums into FL, into the sequencer, and just click in my stuff, and I could have a loop going in just a matter of minutes, like that was great. I loved that ease of use early on. And then, so as I started progressing a couple years later, I got introduced to software called Ableton Live. You guys, if you followed any of my tutorials, any of my beat making videos, you know that that's pretty much the only software that I use now. And so I started to learn, dig more deeper into Ableton and figure out, you know, what is Ableton capable of. It took me a little longer to learn and really dig into all the features that Ableton had at the time. And so now you guys know a little bit of my history, what software I've used. Now, does that mean that you as a young producer, beat maker, have to use Fruity Loops or you have to use Ableton Live? Well, obviously no. You can pick whatever software you want out there. There's a ton of software out there. You got Pro Tools, Logic, Reason, a ridiculous amount of software is out there to choose from. And I know that's one of the parts that people get confused about. It's like, there's so many options, what do I pick? The thing is that just because one producer tells you that this software is the best software out, it doesn't mean that's going to be the software that works for you, because everybody's different. Everybody has a different workflow. This one software might appeal to you because it's got this feature. These features are in a certain place, or you can do certain things in this software that you can't do in the next one. So it really comes down to you to doing your research, to figuring out what's works best for you. And if you still can't figure it out, then I would just recommend making a choice on something. Just pick one and get started. For me, it started with FL and then transitioned into Ableton Live. I know a lot of people now are on Machine, and they're heavy on Machine, but just because this person uses Machine, does it mean that I have to use Machine? Well, obviously not. If I ever get to a point where I feel stuck in Ableton and I need, from a creative standpoint, I need to go to another software, I need to go to another system, another digital audio workstation, then at that point I will evaluate the situation and see if it makes sense to switch software. Definitely do your own research, and if that means going on these websites and downloading like the free trial, the demo trials, try it out for yourself. If it seems like something that you can work with, that makes sense for you, then maybe upgrade and get a full version of that. Just because this producer is recommending Reason doesn't mean it's gonna work for me. Just because I might recommend Ableton Live doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. Just like this person who's using this next software isn't gonna work for the next person. Now you can also look at it from this standpoint. Now Pro Tools, I think we can all agree, is the industry standard as far as digital audio workstation. So if you know Pro Tools, it's gonna be a very universal software. So if you went to another studio and work on it, more likely they're gonna have Pro Tools. They may not have, you know, whatever software that you're using. Some people use Pro Tools just to mix and master it. So a lot of FL users I know will export their stems from Fruity Loops, you know, and import those stems into Pro Tools or another software to mix. And for me, I like to do everything in the box. I like to create and do everything inside of Ableton Live. Like I said, it all depends on you. It all depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're a DJ, if you're a producer, what type of production you're creating might have something to do with it. At the end of the day, there is no single best DAW. Some have perks over the other, but whatever works for you is what I would recommend going with. Definitely let me know in the comments what software you guys use, what you prefer, what works best for you, and why. If you got any benefit out of this video, please like and share, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.